this looming darkness on the horizon. All of these new rules and regulations that are coming into your Earth human experience. The central bank digital currency system. Ratification of the WHO pandemic treaty, which gives them dominion over the policies of virtually every country in the world in the event of another pandemic. Which, of course, you can see, as the WHO is a proxy of the cabal of darkness, it is in their best interests that there is another pandemic. And then you can see what is going on with your economies, with the persecution of your children, and so on and so on and so on. There is this compounding of much change hurtling towards humanity at the same time. And this is overwhelming. It can be so confronting that one finds it difficult not to go into a place of darkness, in despair. You can change your self-definitions such that it becomes easier to deal with this. Another of the awakenings from our book is Hi, I'm Muzz iEvolv from iEvolv.com. Thank you very much for being here again this week. There's so many options for you out there, but yet here you are to watch me channel, so thank you, I really appreciate that. Now the first thing I want to say is if you're a regular, you may notice that my subscriber count has jumped. In fact, it jumped by 60 subscribers in a single day, which is amazing, especially when you consider that I was shadow banned in January, and since January, I've only added 15 subscribers. And yet yesterday, I added 60 in one day. So if you're one of the new subscribers, welcome. I'm very happy you're here. Thank you very much for joining. Please like, subscribe, and share this video now. And then when you're watching the video or after the video, if you could leave a comment on anything you would like to say or discuss about the content of the channel, that would be wonderful. Thank you. If you enjoy channeling, if you enjoy spiritual work, you're going to love this book. This book has been described by a reader as a seminal work for our times, which is really amazing, pretty high praise, and something I'm really proud of. And if you want to have your mind blown and hear ideas and leading edge philosophies and wisdoms that you haven't heard before, then I really recommend you get a copy of this book. And I'm not taking all the accolades, I just channeled it. I just channeled the information from my guides. Great stuff. The link for this is below the video. It comes in paperback, audio, and ebook. If you would like to support me, what I've done is I've created a membership site, and you can subscribe to the membership site. It's very cheap. There's 3 different levels. The most expensive level is less than 2 quarters per day. And you get copies of the transcripts of each channel I do, the audio of each channel I do, and also the video recording of each channel I do. You can see the link for that is below this video. If you'd like to have a private channeling with me, then all you need to do is go below this video and click the link for private channeling, and that's going to take you to an inquiry form where you can inquire, just express some interest, and I will send you some information which gives you everything you really need to know to make a decision. And then after that, you can decide if you want to do it or not. So filling out that form, it doesn't commit you to anything. And on to the topic of today's channel. The darkness is coming. Are you afraid? Greetings and thank you for the question. The darkness is coming. Are you afraid? We have decided to pose this question today because there are some in the audience of a regular channeling that have expressed a growing challenge to remain in an energetic state and a mind space which is pleasant, which hasn't filled them with a sense of despair and despondency about the approaching darkness, about all of these diabolical changes which are on the horizon and are coming for no other reason than to further the agenda of capturing the entire planet, enslaving humanity into a system which is governed over by a very small, nefarious group of elites. And these elites, who will be at the ultimate pinnacle of this global, communistic, fascistic, structure will be those that have been born into the dynastic families, which have ruled much of the machinations and certainly directed the progress of your planet for a very, very long time. Their agenda began thousands of years ago, and now in your lifetime, it is approaching the culmination. They are literally in the end zone, waiting for the opportunity to make the final move, which will be the crowning glory on this vision of capturing the entire planet and enslaving humanity. If you are experiencing some challenge with remaining in this energetic and mind space state where you are not made despondent, then this channeling is for you. And we are aware there is a large contingent of new presences in the audience. So we will begin by re-establishing some of the fundamentals about the definition set we use. So let us begin in this way. As we just alluded to, there is a unified malevolence which have been coordinating and directing the progress of humanity for a very long time. And they have decided that humanity is their enemy. They have literally pitted themselves against humanity. And they use darkness as the main basis of their power. So, on the spiritual spectrum, there are two polarities, the polarity of the light and the polarity of the darkness. And those that are at the epicenter, the ruling class of the cabal of darkness, have made the philosophical choice to follow the pathway of darkness and to use darkness as a power to bring about their total and absolute dominion of the earth human experience. Now, you might ask, is darkness really actually a power? And we will just quickly demonstrate that yes, it is. Consider this scenario. There is a gang which is selling drugs into a particular community, and they do it freely, unchallenged. Then a new gang arrives, and this new gang is willing to beat all of the original gang quite violently in an effort to take control of this particular region and take control of all the drug commerce of this region. And so now they have shooed the original gang out. They've gone. This new gang has been placed in the position of controlling that region because they were willing to be dark. They were willing to use violence. But then a new gang comes along. And this new gang is willing not only to use physical violence, but also to literally kill the members of this opposing gang. They start killing gang members once they arrive, and this existing gang are not willing to go that far into darkness. They will use violence, as in give someone a beating, but they're not willing to literally start killing people to maintain that region. So they leave. And so now this new gang who are willing to commit homicide reign supreme, and it is because they have been willing to go even further into darkness. And then yet another gang arrives. And this gang are willing to not only commit homicide, but also to assassinate or eliminate entire families of different gang members. So they are going so far into darkness that this gang who are willing just to commit homicide, they do not want to be a part of some strategy which includes killing the elderly, killing parents, killing siblings, killing the children of their enemy. And so they are dispersed from the area, and this new gang who are willing to go even deeper into darkness now reign supreme. So you can see that the willingness to go into darkness is actually what gives them their power. And so in this way, you can say that darkness actually, yes, it is a power. So when you extrapolate this to a global basis in the earth human experience, the most powerful gang, you could say, is the cabal of darkness. They are willing to literally start wars, which result in the deaths of many millions of people, to release manufactured pandemics into the human population, killing millions more, to create ecological disasters, to destroy economies, to corrupt the young, and so on. Because they have made the choice to follow the philosophical pathway of darkness, then they understand darkness is their power. And so there is no limit to how far into darkness they are willing to go to reign supreme. This is the state of play in the earth human experience, where you are being ruled by a cabal of darkness, literally a collection of very privileged and elite individuals from dynastic families with their minions and those that they control, which includes individuals, governments, institutions, corporations, media, and so on, to further this agenda using darkness as their power. When you look in your societies, there is much confusion, much conflict, much division, much disease, famine, poverty, violence, and so on. This is not because humanity is flawed, but rather these emotional states, these catastrophes and crises and so on have been deliberately engineered into your human experience so that you are much more likely to emanate a dark energy yourself. So you become guilty, shameful, hateful, and so on. These are all dark energies which you are being manipulated into exuding, because when you exude dark emotionality, you are actually adding to the entirety of the dark energy field, which is being wielded as a weapon by the cabal of darkness. You are being manipulated to behave in a particular way. So we'll give you an example. Humanity was incited to be very fearful about the consequences of this pandemic, which now has been revealed to have been not very dangerous at all. And then you were guilted into using a particular type of medical intervention to prevent the spread. And if you did not participate, then you were shamed, you were threatened, and so on. So all of these dark emotionalities were utilized to elicit a particular type of behavior. Again, you can see that darkness is their power. They have used your own dark emotionality, which they have fermented and incited through the cultural pillars which they control, into behaving in a way which perhaps you would not have. So, if you consider the alternative, if you're always in a state of gratitude, peace, happiness, joy, bliss, love, which are the derivatives of love, then if they try to make you do something using fear as the lever, you do not have any fear within you. And so you are literally invulnerable. They have no power over you. They are unable to influence you. So it is in their interests that you are fearful. And for you to be fearful, then it's important they engineer your societies, your communities, your countries, such that it is much more conducive to you feeling dark emotionality. And also, in some way, they are nourishing themselves from the darkness. You nourish yourself from food, but you are also nourished, in a large part, from your connection to the One, because you are the One. And this is something that we will get into later in this discussion. And the One in the lexicon of human emotion is love and its derivatives. So, if you are receiving this stipend, then it is going to imbue you with those qualities: gratitude, peace, happiness, joy, bliss, love. And then the further artifacts are compassion, caring, sincerity, concern. Yet, If you are going to take the philosophical pathway of darkness, which means that you are going to further your agenda by incurring the deliberate suffering of others, by oppressing and exploiting others, then it is debilitating if you have caring, empathy, sympathy, compassion for those that you're planning to victimize. This stipend must be shut down. It can never be severed because you are the one. So you cannot be disconnected from the one totally. But you can deny this connection. Such is the beauty and the wonderment of the free will you have been granted. But then this creates a conundrum. How do you energetically nourish yourself if you have shut yourself down from that connection with Source, the inflow of the light? Then you must replace this energy you have shut yourself off from a different source. And that energy must be of a quality which you're compatible with. If you have chosen the philosophical pathway of the darkness, and yet those that you are planning to exploit are emanating only the energy of the light, then this is incompatible. You must be parasitic by necessity because you have shut yourself down. So that means you need an underclass to prey upon, to draw from them all the resources which you desire, including the energetic supplement you have shut down from your creator. So the solution is the population over which you have dominion. They must be farmed and nurtured so that they start to emanate a bumper crop of dark energy, which then you can use to nourish yourself. So this is another reason why your societies are so dark. You are literally being farmed to be a beacon of darkness for them to harvest. So if you're feeling fear about the looming of the darkness, then understand it is not because you are at fault or you are weak. It is because the entire system has been designed very specifically to maximize the constituency of darkness within yourself. But it's important to remember that you are not the darkness. You have arisen from your creator, and your creator is love and light. You are the one in disguise. The one is experiencing itself through the unique perspective which is you. Because the one wishes to know itself to completion through the vehicle of experience. And this is why the all was created, the infinite individuations of the one, the illusion that there is more than one. So this is the same as saying that you are the one. And as you are the one, then you are forged from the exact same constituency as the one. The one is love and light. Therefore, you are love and light. You are gratitude. You are peace, happiness, joy, bliss, love. You literally are those things. And so when you entertain any dark emotionality, fear, hate, jealousy, despondency, and so on, you are entertaining an idea that is untrue. You are believing you are something which you are not, because you are love and light. You are the creator. So when you are entertaining this dark emotionality, you are allowing darkness to become part of your identity. I am angry. I am afraid. I am hateful. But it is a misconception of what you truly are. Make the recognition that you are not the darkness. I am not the darkness. I realize that there is a growing sense of incongruency. When I feel and entertain dark emotionality, when I'm afraid, it doesn't feel right. It feels incongruent. It feels uncomfortable. This is the messaging to you that you're entertaining a belief about something that isn't true. You are not fear. You are not hate. You are not anger. And so when you make this recognition, you let them go. You release them from your identity. I'm no longer fearful because I recognize fear is not me. And when you make this recognition that if I'm not the darkness, what am I? I must be the light by process of elimination. And so you gravitate to the light. You go into the light and you start living more and more in the truth of what you are, a being of the light. And this is done by living with greater virtue. Choose to use emotionality from the lightness end of the spectrum in all of your interactions, in the way you treat other people, in the way that you treat yourself. Decide to be truly virtuous. Tell the truth. Do the right thing. Act with integrity, dignity, courage, and so on. These are all further artifacts of the lightness end of the spiritual spectrum. This can be easier said than done. This looming darkness on the horizon, all of these new rules and regulations that are coming into your earth human experience, the formation of the central bank digital currency system, the ratification of the WHO pandemic treaty, which gives them dominion over the policies of virtually every country in the world in the event of another pandemic, which of course you can see as the WHO is a proxy of the cabal of darkness. It is in their best interests that there is another pandemic. And then you can see what is going on with your economies, with the persecution of your children, and so on and so on and so on. There is this compounding of much change hurtling towards humanity at the same time. And this is very overwhelming. It can be so confronting that one finds it difficult not to go into a place of darkness, in despair. You can change your self-definitions such that it becomes easier to deal with this. Another of the awakenings from our book is your identity awakening. It is making the realization that you are not the finite avatar that you see in the mirror, that you are instead the infinite energetic, which is animating the avatar. So the avatar, this person you know yourself as, is really a meat puppet, a flesh suit, and you are just temporarily animating it in this incarnation. But the true designation of who you are existed before this lifetime began and will continue to exist after this lifetime concludes. So this is just a temporary experience. Therefore, what occurs here isn't of much significance in the full scope of the lifespan of an infinite being, which you are. You are the infinite, invulnerable, immortal. Nothing that occurs here can touch the true essence and definition of who you are. Much like the idea of playing a video game. You are animating the character on the screen. And yet, anything which befalls the character, you understand, cannot actually touch you. You are invulnerable to whatever happens in the game. This is a wonderful analogy for what is actually going on for you also in this lifetime. You are not the avatar. You are the game player that is animating the avatar. You are the presence behind the eyes. So, anything which befalls this avatar you see in the mirror will not actually befall you in the true essence of who you are. You are literally invulnerable, as well as infinite and immortal. So, it is okay to take your physical experience, this lifetime you're currently living, much less seriously, because the stakes are not as high as you may think that they are. Because no matter what happens to you in this lifetime, you will continue to go on and you will be absolutely and totally unharmed. You are just here to fulfill divine purpose. And divine purpose is to know thyself to completion through the vehicle of experience. This is your purpose because it is the One's purpose. This is the reason that the One created the All. Before the All, the One was just a concept, a single intangible concept. But in this state, there was no potential for growth because everything that was to be known was already known, because everything that there was this one thing. And so it yearned for purpose. And therefore, to answer or make possible purpose, it exploded itself into an infinite number of individuations. The All was born. And when the All was born, so was the possibility for experience. Because for there to be experience, there needs to be more than one. So that one thing can look at another thing and say, I am not that, which is the beginning of experience. And so when the All was created and experience became possible, the One now had purpose. And that purpose was to experience everything, to know itself to completion through the vehicle of experience. And as you are the One, then this is your purpose also. And so you are here in this particular incarnation fulfilling that purpose. But then also, there is no death. The root of all fears is the fear of death. This is the case in the human field at this time. And one of the reasons that death is so misunderstood, is still so opaque to the consciousness of each of you, is because this has been very deliberately created this way. For the illusion of the 3D and the experience of being an earth human at this time to be the most efficient and effective and potent, then death must remain a mystery. However, there is a growing understanding that there is no death. And this is because humanity is now edging closer and closer, transitioning into the fourth density, where eventually, over time, it will be possible to transition from the physical into the non-physical at will. Of course, this is some time into the future. But the beginnings of that will be the understanding that death is not permanent, that really there is no death. It's just a transition from one state to another. So, you cannot die. The fears that you have about the looming of the darkness, ultimately, the fear is, I will not survive. But the truth is, you will always survive. You can do nothing but survive because you are the eternal being. You are the infinite immortal. And so there is no death for you. There is only transition from one state to another. So the fear that you have in this expanded definition of self, once you have gone through your identity awakening, it's irrational. It makes no sense. Why would I be afraid of my own death when I cannot die? Why would I be concerned about my mortality when I am immortal? And the dying experience itself, when you cross the veil, you will have the experience very similar to awakening from a dream. Ah, okay, that's right, I was dreaming. This is reality. So, it is not something to be fearful of, to be afraid of. It is just natural and part of the process. Death of your physical form is a blessing. Because when there is death of the physical form, you can return back to the true recognition and understanding of what you actually are. And then this process, which you have known as life, can be analyzed, can be processed and understood, and then integrated into the beingness of the eternal being that you are. Now let us look at the more practical matters of your experience. Your true designation is the infinite, invulnerable, immortal. But nonetheless, you are animating this meat puppet at this time. So, you are a composite being. You are the non-physical and you are the physical simultaneously. If you are going to prepare, in the practical sense, against this looming of the darkness, this unified malevolence which is on the horizon, which is now instigating all of these final changes as they build the slave system, recognize in what ways are they planning to change your societies. For example, one of the ways they're planning to change your societies, they're going to make food much more scarce, much more expensive. And so if you understand this, then start building up a reserve of food. Start implementing the capacity to create your own food so that if there was a transitory period of perhaps 3 months where you did not have the same access to food resources as you have done in the past, then you would be able to make it to the other side, having nourished yourself and those you're responsible for. Also, if there is going to be a collapse of the current financial system to justify the implementation of the central bank digital currency, don't have your wealth in dollars, euros, pounds. Instead, transfer it into something which is known to survive financial collapse, such as silver, gold, platinum, which you can use to trade for other things that you need. Also, if you need a particular type of medicine, then make sure that you have enough of it going forward. If there was a period of 3 months where you could not get access, that you have some reserves for that. And so on and so on and so on. This is how you can be practical. Think about what is coming, what the repercussions will be. And also, very important, is that you start developing community. Start to know your neighbors. Start to gravitate and spend time with others that you know you can rely upon in the event of a crisis, in the event of the deliberate deprivation of humanity. Let us finish in this way. What's most important to take from this discussion is the understanding that you are the infinite, invulnerable, immortal. You will continue to exist for all time, just as you have already existed for all time. What occurs in this lifetime cannot touch the true definition of what you are. You are invulnerable to whatever happens here. You are here solely to gather experience. And even more so than that, you have not been thrust into this place against your will. It is not a tragedy of circumstances that you find yourself alive at this time, when the looming of the darkness is greater than any other time it has been throughout human history. Why? Why, of all the periods through history, did I have to be born into this particular time? It is because you have chosen to be born into this particular time. It was your desire. You felt that the experiences you desire for the most impactful and expansive growth in understanding of who you are through the vehicle of experience could be gathered by being incarnated at this particular time. It is your choice. You have chosen to be here because you know you can do it. You know you can cope with it. If you meet the end of your life, it is just awakening from the illusion. It's like turning off the video game. It's awakening from a dream. The stakes are much less than you think they are. Because ultimately, it is one playing with the illusion so that it can have different experiences to understand what it is, answering the ultimate question: I am what? So all experience is divine experience. There is no aberration. Nothing occurs which should not have occurred, because everything which occurs adds to the accumulation of the one's experiential knowledge of itself. And so it is all divine, and it is all fulfilling divine purpose. So it is all beautiful. Be hopeful. Be excited. Utilize this opportunity to grow in any way that you choose to grow, to expand in any way that you choose to expand. It is a free will paradigm. You are the eternal being. You are infinite, immortal, invulnerable. So you are going to have so many more opportunities throughout the entirety of your existence. So it is not as serious or as solemn as you think that it is. It is just a mechanism for you to grow and to come to a greater place of understanding of what you are through experience. All experience is relevant, whether you judge it as good or bad from the perspective of the avatar you know yourself as when you look in the mirror. So let it go. Be looser. And when you do this, it actually allows you to gravitate more so towards the light, because you are no longer worried, anxious, fearful, despairing, despondent, depressed. Because you realize, why would I even bother? I'm the infinite, invulnerable, immortal. So why would I care? Why would I worry so much about those things? And then you start entertaining more of the energetic qualities which are truly representative of what you are. And when you are maintaining those energetic qualities, then you manifest from that a life experience which is conducive to having more of those types of emotional states, and therefore more of those reflective experiences, because remembering that your life experience is a physical metaphor of your state of being. If you want to have a life experience which is joyful and prosperous and abundant and so on, then don't entertain those emotions which they are deliberately using the cultural pillars to inculcate you into entertaining. If you are afraid, then they are having success in making you fearful. If you are hateful, then they are having success in making you hateful. Take your power away from them. Reclaim it in full recognition of what you actually are. And you will begin to manifest a life experience which is conducive to all of the qualities of love and light. And then it will matter not what state the rest of the world finds itself in, because you will be living your own oasis, which has been manifested through your mastery of your self-understanding and your self-energetics. Thank you, and we love you. Hello, thank you for making it to the end of another channeling session. So I'm going to tell you another story, another funny story about speaking Spanish. And this one happened recently. I spoke reasonably good Spanish like 15 years ago, but then I left Spanish-speaking countries and I kind of forgot most of it. And when I was in Colombia just recently, I was in a supermarket and I was listening to something on my headphones, and the cashier, the register girl, asked me a question. And I didn't hear what she said. And I had a long queue behind me and they're all kind of waiting. And I was like, oh goodness, I feel feeling a bit of pressure. And so she was asking, do you have the card, like to get your points? But at the time my Spanish wasn't as good and I didn't know what she was saying. And I thought she was saying, do you have a bag? Like, tiene una bolsa. Like, do you have a bag? So bolsa is a bag. And she wasn't saying that. She was saying something different, but that's what I thought she was saying. And so I wanted to respond and say, yes, I have a bag, because I actually had one of those sort of recyclable bags with me. And so I wanted to say, yes, I have a bag. So that would be, sí, tengo un bolsa. Tengo una bolsa. But I panicked because I was pressured. It just kind of caught me as a surprise, and I had people waiting for me, and I had to speak Spanish on the spot, and I wasn't prepared for it because, you know, often when you got to say things in those situations, you kind of rehearse it in your head and then you say it. I was on the spot. And so I wanted to say, yes, I have a bag, but instead what I said was, soy basura. If you understand Spanish, you may be laughing right now, because what I actually said was, instead of saying I have a bag, I said, I am garbage. I am trash. Because I got bolsa and basura mixed up. So I wanted to say bolsa, bag, but instead I said basura, garbage. And instead of saying tengo, I have, I said soy, which I am. So instead of saying I have a bag, I said I am garbage. And the girl kind of went, okay. And then she just carried on. I think she realized I must have made a mistake, because he actually declares that to a cash register, to the registrant, that they're garbage. So anyway, it wasn't until I got outside the store and I kind of settled down a bit and I went, hang on a sec, I just said that I'm garbage, which was kind of funny. I had a bit of a laugh about that. So if you've learned a foreign language, you may have situations like that. I've got several of them in my life experience of just totally getting it wrong. Anyway, I love you, and I'll speak to you again next week. Bye.